So today's subject, we're going to talk about something that's extremely powerful. I like to call it the superpower. And when I finally discovered this and added it and implemented it into my life, it made things a lot easier. And quite frankly, we're going to dive straight into it because there's one thing that will actually kill your relationship faster than most things, and that is jealousy. Most importantly, unfounded jealousy. Now, jealousy really technically is a form of weakness. It's your weakness. If you're jealous of your partner or anybody else for that matter, it's a representation that you feel like they have something that you can't get. And when we're talking about partnerships or relationships, if you're jealous of your partner for whatever reason, if she's getting or he's getting too much attention and he's getting more than you, and you feel bad about that, and this happens a lot, certainly where I am in the Philippines, where you deal with a lot of ladies that are in the entertainment industry. So how do you overcome that? And what's the best solution to overcome the jealousy? Well, first and foremost, so here's your number one superpower. And it's something that's never discussed, a word that I've recently found and never heard of before, but it's a good example of what exactly it is that can really unify your relationship. The opposite of this word is jealousy. If you are jealous, especially unfounded jealousy, so you're worried about what your partner's doing or checking their phone or who did you speak to or what did you say to him or what did you say to her, that's really a reflection of yourself. There's a thing called projection reflection. You generally get back what you see or lack of what you have. And so jealousy is not only fundamentally flawed and will make you conditionally unhappy in any relationship. Some people use jealousy as a form of competition. I certainly did when I was competing as an athlete, that I wasn't necessarily jealous, but I was competitive, that I wanted to beat that person. They had what I wanted. So I'm not sure if jealousy was the right word or right motivation, but I certainly used it to become a success in my sport. Now, back to your relationship. How can we relate that to your relationship? Well, if you are continually jealous about your partner or you find them getting out, it's a classic example. I lived in Las Vegas and my second wife was about 10 years younger than me and she looked great. You know, she used to model and all that stuff. So when we go to a casino, something like that, I'd be dressed in a business suit, usually a pair of jeans, shoes, all that sort of stuff. She would get a lot of attention. In fact, whenever she went to the toilet or to the bathroom, she liked it or preferred it if I went with her because 9 times out of 10, she would get accosted or approached in the casino by the time she got in or out of the toilet. And that's actually a true story. So how did I deal with that? Well, initially, I didn't deal with it very well. So I was younger and dumber, as we all are, and more immature, that I couldn't handle that relationship or that jealousy or the attention that she got. Because no matter what I did, she's a woman. She's going to get more attention. Guys would be more brazen and come up to her or approach her, especially if I'm not with her or I've gone to the CR and she's at the bar, somebody will approach her. And I handled it in a number of ways. The great thing about casinos, by the way, certainly in Las Vegas, is their security is fantastic. And normally they'll pick you up. Certainly if you're a couple walk into a casino and you're holding hands and you get approached by a group of guys or single guys, whatever, they'll pick up on it. Security will be there straight away. And they saved me many, many times. There's been times where it could have really got out of hand. Thank goodness for the Las Vegas casinos and their security teams. Back to the point, jealousy. How do you deal with it? Well, 9 times out of 10, a woman, or 99 times out of 100, if she doesn't want to be flattered by a compliment, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, as long as somebody's not going to touch my partner or physically harm her or him for that matter, then I'm totally fine with it. Yeah, she looks great, or she's got this, or she looks sexy, or whatever. And that's actually as a compliment. If you think about it, if your wife or your partner, your husband, was ugly and nobody wanted to be with her, the chances are you wouldn't want to be with her either, would you? Do you really want to be with somebody ugly and unliked by everybody? I guess that's some people's shtick. It's not mine. We all want to be with somebody who is popular, who is successful, who is good looking, who's the best person we could possibly get in our lives at that time of our lives. So jealousy is just a reflection of how you really feel. Now, obviously, there's certain circumstances that can go over and above that, where people can be generally rude or inappropriately touched. That's actually happened before. And you have to deal with that under a different set of circumstances. I'm talking about your day-to-day. Oh, let me check your phone. Oh, who are you talking to? Oh, why are you speaking to that person? Why aren't you speaking that? Or why don't you give me more of your attention? Yeah, that's your problem, not her problem. And there's something else. As a man, when you have or exude confidence, that you don't find it like yourself getting jealous over your partner, over somebody making a comment, then you really have reached a level of maturity. And as I mentioned just previously, a woman can really handle herself. And it's much more embarrassing if the guy approaches a woman and she just puts him down or cuts him dead in an instant, rather than me doing it, because it can result in a conflict. I hope you're following me here and you're getting where I'm coming from and exactly how important this is. Now, the word, the opposite of jealousy, or the equivalent of the opposite of jealousy, is a word called compersion. That's not compassion, it's compersion. I'll probably have to spell check that when we're doing the captions on here, but it's called compersion, a word I hadn't heard recently or practically for any part of my adult life. I just literally looked it up and said, I want to know what the opposite is of jealousy, because I just don't have it anymore. I don't have jealousy towards my partner. And I don't have jealousy towards anyone that succeeds. In fact, compersion means that you're genuinely happy and joyful for that person to achieve success. One of my good friends is Matt Fidesz. He's become very successful in the martial arts industry and in the real estate industry, and he's doing extremely well. Actually, he's become an inspiration to me. I think I was one to him when he was younger, and now he's become one to me. So he's doing very, very well, and I'm so impressed where he handles himself. So the bottom line is this. When you feel yourself having that urge to make a comment about who are you speaking to or what are you doing, just stop and think a minute. For 9 times out of 10, it's an instant reaction. I think it's called, there's 4 levels of emotion. That would be called an uncontrollable reaction, where you do it almost matter of fact. When somebody says something, you want to respond immediately and protect what is yours. Well, let's talk about that just for a second, because nobody is yours. You do not own anyone, I guess, unless you're in a slave trade, which I'm not. So you don't own anyone. Nobody owns me. My wife doesn't own me. If you think about it, nobody owns you, do they? Nobody really owns you. You can get up and choose to walk out today, tomorrow, tonight, whenever you want to. Nobody owns you in that space. So why would you be owning anyone else? And if you do have that feeling like you need to own them, or you're mine, you do as I say, blah, 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 or you're headed for a lifetime of upset and misery, not just for you, but more likely for your partner too, because you do not own them. You want to be using your compersion ability to just accept that they will have somebody compliment them, or they may get more attention than you in your relationship. Whippy-do. What does it mean? Does my partner want to leave me? That makes a big difference if she wants to go, or he is entertaining that level of jealousy or flattery and coercion, that coercing the person to continue in that direction, which is not good. But you'll know when you've got a confident woman, or a woman that's confident in you, or you've got a confident man. I can just literally laugh it off. Being in the entertainment industry, in clubs that you are bombarded by people, and they don't know if it's your wife or your girlfriend, or you're in a club with your girlfriend, which has other girls in it, and they're entertainers in that industry. They don't necessarily know that's your girlfriend. They may just think it's a girl that's actually working in the bar. So you have to exercise some level of control if you take your person into that kind of business. Now, most of us are not involved in that business. Never even go there, won't go there. Shame, because they're great places to have fun. But whatever position you are in, the exercise of offering or exercising compersion, not compassion, compersion, which is a level of joy for actually thinking, okay, well, that's good for my wife. If he says you look great, well, that's good for your confidence, right? It's good for her confidence, good for his confidence. You can play it off and be nice and kind and polite, but also straightforward to make sure that that's my husband over there, or that's my wife over there. But thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate it. And move on, not give him a time of day. And the biggest sort of, I wouldn't call it diss, but the biggest thing you can do as a woman that's with a man who you love your man is to actually tell somebody assertively that you are with your man and you are speaking inappropriately, especially if he knows that you're with him. So there you go. There you have it. The opposite of jealousy is what we should be exercising or trying to work towards on a daily basis. Projection, reflection. You're seeing something that somebody else has that you want. That's called jealousy. I want it. That's mine. You can't have it. It's mine. There's nothing wrong with being protective and assertive, of course. You want to make sure that physically your wife's not going to get hurt or physically your man's not going to get hurt. And I've seen, believe me, many women protect their men in outstanding fashions. So, lesson for the day, lose the jealousy. Work on it. Work on yourself. When you catch yourself go into a reactional mode, which is triggered, then it's actually triggered by a thing called your amygdala, which is another part of the brain, but we'll go into that in another video. But as long as you got it in your head, I'm not going to be triggered, or I'm going to enjoy the compliments that my partner gets tonight. And I go, cheers, mate. Nice one. Great job. Thank you for noticing. That's my wife. See you in a bit. And it's even better when your partner understands that's almost part of his role or her role to make sure that she is being defensive of you. Not physically. As a man, that should be your job, in my opinion. Not physically defensive, but certainly verbally, very defensive and assertive, and making sure that those people know exactly where their place is. Remember, we had this conversation before. No one can steal your woman or your man unless they want to be stolen. Other than that, it's called kidnapping. So we don't want to be doing that. So you got it? Compersion, your new word of the day from me, Lee Charles, midlifemagnet.com, where you can get your books on the 9 steps to get over your ex in seconds. And part of this process is an important part of not being jealous. Certainly if you go for a separation, you don't want to be jealous of your partner's next partner. Oh, well, she's going with him now because he's richer or because he's better looking or because he drives a Ferrari, which happened in my case. So the bottom line is that's not real, true health in your relationship, in your life, because that's all what will count at the end of the day. How you feel about yourself, what you think about the other people, and how you can react to being and exercising compersion and be genuinely happy for their success. That's all from me. Boom. No more jealousy, folks. Let's just hit on compersion, that new word. Bet you never heard it before. Not compassion, compersion. New to me too. Peace, love to all. Let's go.